Esteemed guests from Kosovo, the region, and abroad, it is my great pleasure and honor to welcome you to the 4th Annual Kosovo Peace and Democracy Summit. Thank you for traveling from near and far and for being here with us today. Unfortunately, for the 4th year in a row, I stand before you and I must admit that things have only gotten worse. And indeed, this year's summit was truly the most difficult one to pull off, not just because of the financial uncertainties that struck the civil society, but because of the exhaustion of the good guys and the lack of an end in sight to what we see as a good fight. Regardless, in a world that perverts peace through strength into the peace through strength of unilateral blackmail, we still try to persevere as a single firefly, keeping the spark of conversation alive in the dark of the night. We are being swatted away, but our size is also our strength. We are small, but fast and agile. We escape. We find cover. We find small places where our light, our ideas, shine a bit brighter. And those spaces are usually provided, and our light amplified, by our partners in the diplomatic community. And I want to thank them for it. The fruits of our cooperation are not many, but they are sweet. And they give us the energy to look past the constant exhaustion of watching things become more disorderly each day. Therefore, I invite you to help us out today. Stick with us through the panel sessions as we try to bring order into our talks about the skyrocketing entropy that is before us and see the pathway to a much-needed respite of equilibrium. Thank you.
Dear participants, I'll try not to echo what my colleagues have said before. However, I just want to thank also on behalf of KCSS, thank you very much for coming, and also to express some gratitude of panelists, special guests, especially Ambassador Orav, but also Stephen Hines, who have been generously supporting our organizations in not only organizing KPJS, but also on the other efforts, and also Andrea, who will help, who will come here and enable us as civil society to have this, to hear from her this insights regarding the Kosovo-Serbia dialogue. I want to express our thanks also to all panelists and all participants here, but also to express gratitude to European Peace Building Liaison Office and to CMI, who have joined forces in this edition of KPDS, enabling us to make this event much bigger than we initially anticipated. And of course, like I want to express gratitude to donors, NAD, RDF Fund. This year and also last year we had also generous support from the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung. So we thank also them for the support that they have provided towards us. Let me say also some words regarding the event. As you know, this year's topic is focused on disinformation, distrust, and dismantling of democratic norms. As a KCSS, like we have been working for years now tirelessly to contribute on providing rational dialogue regarding the security challenge that our region is facing, and we are hoping that this event will help to enrich this dialogue between civil society actors, but also with the presence of experts and also policymakers throughout Europe that are present here. We will be able to discuss topics that we were not able to hear very often. And especially, I want to express this gratitude that have in mind that we are living in a more challenging environment. These opportunities that enables us to meet. But let's use this as opportunity for networking and also exchange, and through it, let's hope that we are going to have more interconnection and more joint efforts to keep our communication with one another and continue this dialogue that we want to promote through Peace and Democracy Summit. Thank you very much.
I'd like to, since incidentally this would be my last KBS as an executive director of SBUNKER, I'd like to say some thoughts with, let's say, with some more freedom than I would usually. So every year we gather. It's the fourth year that we gather here with a stubborn belief that dialogue still matters and that critical thinking is worth defending. And that societies like ours, which are small, fragile, but somehow fiercely resilient, don't have to accept the scripts that are written for them by others. This year's theme, the New World Disorder, captures the moment with some eerie accuracy, I would say. We're living in an age where entire political realities are produced through narrative engineering, where trust is not just eroded slowly, but completely shattered. And democratic norms, which have once been taken for granted in this region, now feel negotiable and provisional. We're living through a moment when disinformation, especially, has become a governing tool and not just a propaganda tactic. When narratives don't describe reality but replace it, and when democratic norms aren't challenged openly, they're quietly hollowed out. By the time the structure collapses, people insist it happened suddenly. It never does. For the Western Balkans, this is not an abstraction, and the region has slipped into old anxieties, ethnic myth-making, performative nationalism, frozen conflicts that keep reinventing themselves, and a political class which is very happy and all too comfortable to exploit fear. At the same time, global actors, state and non-state, have discovered that the Balkans is an ideal venue, an ideal testing ground for information warfare. The targeting is sophisticated, cheap, and relentless. And the damage is massive. But credibility, I would say, matters more. Institutions without credibility cannot enforce norms, and so is true for media as well. And dialogue like this, without credibility, cannot shape any type of peace. And this is where our work begins. And I would say that the panels ahead of us will explore this problem very well.
Across Kosovo and the wider region, societies are navigating through unprecedented challenges. Disinformation, polarization, and attacks on democratic norms threaten the foundations of trust and civic engagement. This is why we are here gathering today at Kosovo Peace and Democracy Summit, an opportunity to act together. I want to thank our hosts, JOVANA, RADOSAVLJEVIĆ, BARDHI, BAKIJA, and mentor VRAJOLLI for bringing us together at this very critical moment. The title of today's conference could have been unimaginable 10 years ago, but we are here today. Across Europe and beyond, disinformation seeks to weaken trust in institutions, polarize societies, and exploit divisions. This challenges cross borders, and Kosovo is not exception here. According to the findings of our partner, hybrid.info. Disinformation and FIMI are highly salient, particularly around elections and security issues. According to the findings, disinformation in Albanian language spreads mostly through social media, while disinformation in Serbian language is more often embodied in traditional media with narratives frequently echoing Russian disinformation, particularly on political and security issues. As a result, Kosovo's information space remains vulnerable to manipulation and external interference. Research by our partner, like BIRN and Democracy Plus, shows that critical thinking and source verification are not systematically taught in schools or integrated into public education, leaving citizens highly exposed to manipulation and disinformation. And Kosovo ranks 40th among 41 countries at the European Media Literacy Index, reflecting weak institutional awareness and limited investment in media education.
Thank you, Ambassador, for your insightful remarks and for the EU's continued engagement in supporting peace and democratic progress in Kosovo and the Western Balkans. Before I announce the next speaker, I just want to thank all of you who made it on time despite obstacles related to traffic. We will now continue with a keynote address from Mr. Stephen Hines, President and CEO of the Rockefeller Brothers Fund. The fund has been a founding supporter of KPDS, consistently promoting dialogue, peace building, and democratic cooperations across the region.
Good morning, everybody. It's wonderful to see you all here. I feel, when I'm in this space with all of you, I feel very much at home. And I really appreciate the courage and the conviction of everybody who's participating in this conference. Ambassador, thank you for your remarks. I have to say that what you said and what I'm going to say are very, very similar. So I hope you're not going to be bored by this, but we'll do our best to perhaps offer somewhat of a different perspective. It really is an honor to be with you. I've been coming to Kosovo since 2003, and I've seen enormous progress in this country, and I've made many, many friendships, and I've seen extraordinary work by civil society and by citizens themselves to create the kind of country that Kosovo should be and can be and will be. And I want to thank our partners who have organized the Peace and Democracy Summit, and you've heard from their leaders this morning, the New Social Initiative, a very important and courageous civil society organization, the Kosovar Center for Security Studies, a terrific local think tank, and SBUNKER, which is a very active and creative organization. And I want to thank each of these organizers for being such good partners with each other and with the rest of civil society in this country. You know, the title of this year's gathering, New World Disorder, Disinformation, Distrust, and Dismantling of Democratic Norms, could not be more fitting, unfortunately. Around the world, we are witnessing a storm of disruption that threatens the very foundations of democratic societies. In your booklet, there's an introductory paragraph describing these conditions, which could have been written about my own country. We too are experiencing serious democratic backsliding, the shrinking of civic space, illiberal and autocratic practices and tactics, the effects of